I'm gonna warn you guys, this intro trailer is 2 minutes long. I was feeling really inspired, and I hope that you'll take the time to check it out. What's up everybody, Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. If you stayed all the way through that trailer, thank you so much. I worked really hard on it, and I really like the way that it came out. This was something that I've been kind of tossing ideas around for a long time, and I got the deck. I was just feeling inspired, so there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I would say that probably satisfies a lot of what we need to do for this intro. So we are going to be taking a look at the new Arrow playing cards by my good buddy, Luke Wadey. Before we get started, drop a like on the video. Hope you'll consider subscribing, all that fun stuff. And without further ado, intro.
Let's go.
All right, so like I mentioned, we are gonna be taking a look at the new Arrow deck by Luke Wadey. If you've never seen any of my Luke Wadey videos, or if you're new to my channel, Luke is a good friend of mine. He is a very talented graphic designer. He makes really interesting decks that are very specific to his style, and this deck is absolutely no exception. I did review this prototype a couple of months ago before the Kickstarter campaign, and I just got the real thing from USPCC in the mail, so I cannot wait to crack these open and review them for you. So let's get into it. The tuck box is done in glossy cardstock. It is almost completely black and white, but there is some red accents that can be found on the back and front. This is a really nice tuck box. If you guys know me, I'm not usually one who cares so much about tuck boxes, but I really like this one. It's super photogenic, very simple, very modern. I just very much enjoy this aesthetic. On the front, it says ARW, which is an abbreviation for Arrow, name of the playing cards. It's got an arrow in the corner, and then in red, it says V1 and has Luke's little emblem down there in the bottom corner. Both sides of the deck have Luke's initials, the name of the deck, and V1 printed on the side. The bottom has some ad copy about Luke and the USPCC, and then as well has Luke's Instagram handle right down below. So check him out, give him a follow. If you're not, you're missing out. The top, once again, has Luke's initials and says ARW. And the back design says V1 in red. It says Arrow 56. Playing cards designed by Luke Wadey. It says V1, and then you have a little teaser of what the back design of the deck looks like right there in the corner. There are two red arrows on the inside tongue flaps done in red, and as well it says choose your path with the hashtag WeAre0 on the inside tongue flap. We Are Zero is a hashtag that Luke created with his previous playing cards, the Mono Zero deck. If you haven't seen those, you are definitely missing out. Those are great cards. I love them a lot. All right, so that's the tuck case. Let's take a look at the cards. All right, your back design looks like this. Very, very interesting back design, as you can see. The back design is done in completely black and white. It says arrow with an arrow in the corner on one side, and in the middle it says 1 of 56. It has these custom pips kind of in a line. This design was heavily inspired by street signs in Europe, which is where Luke got the idea. Then you can also see it says LW arrow V1, and then has a bunch of arrows making up the other half of this back design. This is a very clear one-way back design, so if I hold it this way or if I hold it this way, obviously I'm gonna get two completely different images, and you can really see that when you fan the cards out, so we will talk about that a little bit later. Now I know that this back design was it received mixed reviews when I reviewed the prototype. I absolutely love it. I think it looks super cool. If you hold it one way, it's got a very traditional looking feel with these non-defined borders. It almost looks like it could be like a B deck. And then if you hold it the other way, it's got these big blocky letters, which make it look very, very appealing for things like cardistry. So in my opinion, knocked it out of the park. I absolutely love this back design. I know a lot of you do as well. You are going to get two jokers with this deck, and they are different jokers, which I actually appreciate. One of them is half red and half white and says JKR, which is the abbreviation for Joker. As you can see, it says JKR in all four corners, which is really cool. It's got Luke's Instagram handle and his emblem, and then the hashtag We Are Zero and Choose Your Path on the other side. Very, very nice looking Joker. Again, super photogenic. You could take a lot of pictures. Like if I were to just screenshot this right here, that's a photo right there for the grid, or that's my thumbnail. Really nice, I love that Joker. However, this Joker is an even better Joker in my honest opinion. It's got a lot of different orientations of the letters A, R, and W. For example, you can see it says ARW, RWA, RAW, and WRA. Really, really nice. I like that, just with the different arrows and different orientations of those three letters. I think it looks really cool, especially when you see words like war and raw in there. Just other words that you can make that are actual words. Nice. This is what the Ace of Spades looks like. So as you can see, you are in for a totally custom faced deck. The Ace of Spades has an arrow pointing up, kind of making the shape of a spade, which makes perfect sense. It does have normal indexes, but then on the other two indices, you can see it says AC-SP, which is an abbreviation for Ace of Spades. It also shows you right at the bottom that any card with an up-facing arrow is a spade, so it kind of helps you decode this. Although this is obviously a deck made for cardistry, and some of you probably don't care if the spades look like spades or not because you're using this deck for flourishing, but either way, really, really cool. All right, now where things really get interesting with this deck are with the add cards and gaff cards. So you actually get two gaff cards with this deck, which is interesting. It's definitely an interesting choice because this is not really a deck that you're probably going to be using for Magic. However, the gaffs are pretty cool. First and foremost, you get a double backer. This can be used for a really wide variety of Magic effects. I do have a video on 3 ways you can use a double backer, so if you're interested, I'll link that down below. And the other one is a gaff card that is half Queen of Hearts and half King of Hearts. So you can use that for like a transpo type effect. You can use it for 2 selected cards, like if you force the Queen of Hearts and the King of Hearts, and you can kind of tie them together. Or you can use this as like a really cool Valentine card for your loved one. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stash that away for now. All right, now the rest of the cards in this deck are completely custom. So as usual, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. The biggest customization that you'll notice is that the pips and indices are in a custom font and completely custom shape for the pips. Definitely an interesting choice, but I really like the way that the cards came out, and I love the thin font on the index. As well, you'll probably notice that in each corner, it has kind of a abbreviated version of whatever card it is. So there is technically a way to read these cards in all 4 corners of the deck, which is really interesting. Your court cards are bicycle standard, however, there is no border to separate them from the rest of the card, and it has these custom indices. And each court card is monochromatic in that the clubs and spades are done entirely in black, and the hearts and diamonds are done entirely in red. You'll also notice little things like here on the Jack of Hearts, there's just this giant arrow in the middle of it. That is genius. I really like the way that that looks. It looks so good. On the clubs, you can notice kind of the same thing. Like there's the shape of these clubs, this kind of diamond shape, is prominent inside of the design. So I don't know how long that must have taken, but I'm sure it took a while and it looks so good. That's just a little subtlety that I think makes the deck even better. It's kind of one of those, if you don't notice it at first glance, you'll notice it at second glance, and then the deck looks brand new again. Oh, these cards feel so insanely good. So speaking of how good they feel, that is everything I can say about the design of these cards. So let's switch angles and talk about how it handles. All right, so handling wise, these cards feel amazing. They were printed by the United States Playing Card Company on crushed premium stock. So they feel nice and soft coming right out of the box. You can see they spring very well. Oh, they feel so good. And the cards came feeling broken in right out of the box, which I really appreciate. It has completely spoiled me in terms of USPCC decks. They feel so good right out of the box these days. Whew. Another thing that I love is that the cards were cut evenly. So you can see, even though it's an undefined border, the white border is completely even, which almost, I feel like, never happens anymore. So if you fan the cards one way, they look like this, very traditional looking. You just get all those black arrows. And if you fan the cards this way, you get this nice blocky lettering streak that just runs right through the fan. So in terms of fanning, this is definitely a cool deck just because you get completely different fans depending on which way you're holding the deck. If I had to compare the way that this deck feels to other decks that you might own, I would say it definitely feels very similar to the Red Fox playing cards by ECAT. And it also feels very, very similar to the Orbit V7, the ones that were printed on WebPress. Now, this deck was not printed on a WebPress, but it feels very loose and very dry, kind of just like the Orbit V7. The cards definitely faro best from top to bottom. And I gotta see what a giant fan looks like with these. Whoa. Pretty crazy if you go that way. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, as I mentioned, this is definitely not a deck that I would recommend using for Magic performance. And the reason that I say that is just because the faces are a little bit difficult to interpret, especially if you're not used to seeing cards with custom pips and indices. In terms of things like flourishing though, I really think that this deck does something special in that the arrow in the corner, kinda when you do your flourishes, depending on how you see it, points a different way, which goes really good with the slogan of this deck, which is choose your path. Here's that new dribble sound. One more time. So good. Snapping his check. Woo, these cards are nice and snappy. Nice. Here's what the cards look like under pressure. And yeah, there you go. Well guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode and my review of the new Arrow playing cards, the V1 by Luke Wadey. Luke, if you're watching this, buddy, I absolutely love this deck. You definitely hit a home run. I'm so proud of you for getting this project funded, and I'm so honored that you let me be a part of it. So thank you so much, man. Also, shout out to Luke for sending me some extra decks. I might save one or two of these for a giveaway in the future after this virus situation dies down. So if you guys love this deck, definitely let me know by dropping a comment down below. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I genuinely hope everybody is practicing all of these things that you need to be practicing to stay healthy. It's so important, and hopefully we get through this together with as little damage as possible, but just know I feel for you. I'm here the same way you guys are at home, so just hang in there. We're gonna get through it. And with all that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.